spectacular today. The task for the college football playoff selection today. Do you go against what has been the 10-year history where every undefeated Power 5 conference champion has gotten in? Or do you just clean the slate this week and say, who are the four best teams? Who are the four best teams? Last year, that format we are dealing with four teams and this selection committee under these circumstances. Homer again. And guess who? Jared Verse.
Last week against Florida, he took Damian George, the tackle, and completely walked him into the quarterback. He does it again right here. You just can't to a 320-pound human being, but he does. He does it every week.
That's sick.
That's a misdemeanor in some states.
That is going to be on the film when they play the NFL draft and his name is called. That's unbelievable speed to power.
Right. It's the speed that scares tackles. They're kick-stepping and they're trying to create an angle, and then he's just able to transition, get his hands inside. Coming back for an extra year was massive for him for his draft stock and also potentially national championship chips.
33 complete to the thrash. Couldn't hold on to it.
And Ronario Green has just been a beast outside one-on-one. He's been doing that all year. This is a everybody at home has to understand that. It's not no question.
As much as we have made and we have said that we've watched all these points and all these lacks of third downs to come through, this defense has been the other end of the spectrum. They've been that good. They are superb defensively. Fourth down and 3. Homer. Fisk is chasing him, and Fisk gets to it. The 300-pounder just blows down on Jack Homer.
All right. We're just going to wait for the end of this game here, which is pretty much right now. As Florida State's going to get the ball back. They're up by 10. There's a minute left. Louisville has done nothing. This game has been pretty boring. All the night games, both of them, the Big Ten game and this one, have been quite boring. So yeah, that's why I haven't recorded much, because of my nose. It's clogged a lot. Are they going for style points, or are they going to need it? Okay. Well, Florida State, I don't think they're getting in after this performance tonight. I mean, I know they're going to have their second string guy in on the championship game, or in on the bowl game, whatever. Oof, this was brutal to watch. I'm not saying that Alabama and Texas should jump Florida State, but I would not be surprised if tomorrow they put Michigan number 1, Washington number 2. I guess you'd have to put Texas 3, and then I wouldn't be surprised if they put Bama 4, and they leave Florida State at 5. Because this was brutal. They didn't look good in this game at all. And yeah, I get it was raining, but you got to do something more than this.
In school history. Their first since 2014. Katie.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I like Mike Norvell. I'm happy that that he got it, but I don't know. I don't see them. I don't see them getting in the 14 playoff. If it was the 12-team playoff, they'd be in. But I don't see them getting in this year, just because this game was not that good. I don't know. I mean, the Big Ten championship game, that game was boring, but you kind of knew it was going to be. This game was just, ugh. It was like a slog. If you had the under in this game, boy, did you win. The over-under wasn't even that high either. Oh, some more people are joining now, so that's good. If you have any questions, anything going on, just comment. I'll be able to see it. Just watching the end of the ACC championship game. All of the championship games are now over. So you can all make your conjecture. You can all make your guesses as to who's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to do that, put it in the comments too. I'll read it out. I'll probably agree with you. Is there anyone who's not in agreement with Michigan being number 1? I feel like it's going to be Michigan number 1. Washington. I was going to say Wisconsin. Washington is going to be number 2. And then 3 and 4 is going to be fun because you could put Texas, you could put Alabama, or you could put Florida State. And I think the committee is going to shut out Florida State. I don't know. What do you think about that? They just didn't look good in this game. I get they're going to have their second string quarterback for their next game in 3 weeks, but I don't know. And yeah, my nose is clogged, so sorry.
That's a large part why people respect that. And the committee, historically, through 10 years of the process, has respected that if you're a Power 5 team. They've always gotten in. You talked about their resume, 3 top 25 wins, 8 wins against Power 5 bowl-eligible teams. That's the most in the country. Their defense proving tonight.
Yeah, so they're rattling off everything for Florida State, as they should. The resume is really good. I don't know.
Finishing the year winning 3, none bigger than this one against the top 15 teams. So that's what's in front of the committee. That's what they'll be talking
Hey,
about.
ST Patrick.
Tomorrow morning as well.
I have a
Their 10-point win on the
email
road
address.
in my eyes gives them a head up against
Let me give you that real quick.
looking at a Bama team that just beat the number 1 team in the country.
I believe it's Wrong Sports 2018. That's Wrong Sports 2018 at Gmail. You can email me anything, and I'll look at it. But again, if you have any suggestions as to who you think is going to be the top 4, put it in the comments below. But I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement that Michigan is 1, Washington is 2, 3 and 4 is going to be where everyone's going to talk for the next 12 hours until we get the result tomorrow at noon. And I am not going to be on here much longer because I am tired. Also, I'm watching this Idaho game. Idaho and Southern Illinois is on right now. I'm watching that game for a little bit because I am invested in Idaho. So, but tell me what you think. Tell me what was your favorite game of the day. I'm assuming it's the SEC championship game because that was probably the best game of the day.
With his buddies tonight, and then wake up tomorrow and tune in.
The best game of
Tell them
the championship games might be the Pac-12 game,
I mean, that stat line is not sizzling at all. It's
but
warm at best, but we're such a quarterback-centric sports society. Yet let's look to the other side and say,
Alabama and Texas. Okay.
do not stack up this defense
Again,
against
I would put in Alabama and Texas. Except I would put Texas number 3 and Alabama 4, just because if you want to make the whole thing, they played each other. Texas beat them, so you want to put Texas ahead. Yes, that's how it should go. But I don't trust these committees anymore to do things that make sense. So if they put Bama 3, Texas 4, I wouldn't be surprised. But yes, the best teams really have been. At least the top 2 best teams. It's going to be Michigan and Washington. I don't see how else it can't be them too. But 3-4 is going to be interesting. I don't see Ohio State getting in any way. They shouldn't even be in this conversation whatsoever. Georgia, I wouldn't put Georgia in either.
So I wonder if that's something that the committee takes into account as well.
Yeah, whoa, Nelly, I agree. FSU does not have their best player in. That is true. But again, they could make an argument saying that their second string quarterback, who played in the previous game, is going to play in the college football playoff if they get in, because Rudemaker would be available. So
It is a team that beat you by 10 points in Tuscaloosa.
that Alabama team is not
yeah, the playoffs is going to be interesting now that Georgia lost, but I don't see how Georgia's going to get in. Even though you could say, yeah, Georgia's a top 4 team, and I mean, yeah, they have looked great all season. They've looked very good. Actually, not great. I'm not going to say they're great, but they've looked very good all season. There were times where they have not looked good. They didn't look really good in the Georgia Tech game last week, so that's why this week that's when that spread came out. I believe the highest it got was 5.5. Georgia was favored 5.5 over Alabama. You're just asking people to pick Alabama. Yes, Ohio State does have the best loss, St. Patrick, but they don't have a conference title. And this isn't like last year where there were multiple losses on teams. Texas and Alabama should jump them. I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, OSU is in the same boat as Georgia because they're non-champs, but Georgia, I guess, is a little bit higher because Georgia actually got to their conference title game. So that's where they might rank them a little bit higher. But again, I think everybody going into this weekend knew that Ohio State had no chance. I mean, again, I like Florida State. I'm liking what Mike Norvell's doing, but I just don't see how they're gonna get in. If they would have won this game 30-6, maybe. Because maybe you could say, oh, they really dominated. And yeah, their defense looked great in this game, but
Coach Norvell, when you think back to taking over this job 4 years ago, the evolution since the growth, what makes you most proud?
yeah, this is why they need to get rid of the divisions and conferences. That's why Ohio State keeps getting screwed. Yeah, after Texas won, I agree. Once Texas won, you kind of can't take Texas out. I can't see your question now, or actually what you said there. After Texas team ruling, yeah, I agree. Once Texas won today, they've won pretty handily. Texas should be in. I would have liked to have seen Texas get another shot at Oklahoma, so they could have beaten Oklahoma slayed their dragon, and then they would have had to have gone in. But since, Oklahoma lost a stupid game, it was Oklahoma State. Even though Oklahoma State has looked really weird this whole season, I agree. After they beat Oklahoma, and then the next week they lose by 40 points to UCF. And then they lost to South Alabama at the beginning of the season. Yeah. Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State is always fun to watch because they're always like 8-4, 9-3. Sometimes you get a 10-win season in there, but usually they're like between 7 and 9, and that wins. He's never going to get fired unless he really does something stupid, or if they just. I mean, the Big 12 should be a little bit easier for. I don't know. It might not be easier, but now there's going to be 18 teams in it, but it might be a little bit better for them to navigate through. Yeah, I agree. I have been down on Florida State. I've really seen all of my Florida State games I've seen where they didn't look great. Florida State, Boston College. Boston College almost beat them. And Boston College is not a top-tier team. Who else did they face who they looked like they were in trouble in? I mean, Florida last week, they looked like they were in trouble. But the Florida game last week is a different story because that is, they were in that game fighting with a backup. And I'm going to turn this down a little bit because I don't really care about this game anymore. I'm actually going to turn on. There's only one game on right now, in case you want to know. It's a FCS tournament game. It's Idaho and Southern Illinois. Happening in Idaho. Yeah, Hugh, I agree. I know you're an Ohio State fan. I don't think Ohio State gets in. I don't know if I agree with you about Alabama, though, Hugh, about how, it's because of SEC bias. I mean, yeah, there's some SEC bias in them getting in. The worst, there'd be worse SEC bias if Georgia gets in. Then that's really bad SEC bias. But I mean, Alabama, they beat Georgia. No one's beaten Georgia in over 2 years. So I mean, them winning, that's a big win. You got to really notch them up there. Yes, Alabama has not looked fantastic all season, but I guarantee you they would probably wipe the floor with Florida State. They probably win by at least 2 touchdowns. Might be a low-scoring game, too, since they both have pretty good defenses and mediocre offenses. But, again, I don't see how you can't put Michigan first, Washington next, and then I would put Texas third, because Texas has looked the best. They looked the best today. They had no problems with Oklahoma State. I think they were winning 14-0. Pretty, like, in a snap, they were up 2 touchdowns. It's pretty incredible. So, I mean, they should be in. Yeah, I think Oregon would beat Florida State, too. You know what? Oregon might face Florida State in a bowl game if Florida State doesn't get in the playoff here, because those, actually, I'm pretty sure they'd put Ohio State and Oregon maybe in a game, because that'd be another good bowl matchup. But you know what? I would like to see Oregon and oh my goodness, this Idaho game is insane. It's just doing these reverse halfback passes here. Also, they're shooting this game incredibly weird. You have no idea where the ball is. Florida State is going to get to a big bowl game. I just don't. You know what? They're probably going to put Florida State against the Group 5, the top Group 5 champion. And at this point, I don't know who that's going to be either, since Tulane lost. I don't know if I'm going to say Oregon is the second best team. They have looked the best most of the season, but They can't beat Washington. It sucks. They really should have won. I mean, they really should have won the first game. They should have beat Washington in Washington. This game they were behind and they were trying to catch up, and they were out. They were really outplayed in this game here. But I agree that if there was a 12-team playoff, I would immediately put Oregon. Like if this was next year, Oregon's in the 12-team playoff. Not even a question. So would the top Group 5 champion be? Well, it would be SMU since SMU beat Tulane. So that's my assumption is it's going to be SMU. Oh man, Idaho just got intercepted. But yeah, SMU, I'm guessing because you can't put Miami of Ohio above SMU. Troy has 2 or 3 losses, I think. They have at least 2. Who's the other Group 5 champions who can maybe get in? I guess Liberty, actually. No, it might be Liberty now. Because Liberty was ranked. And Liberty won. So Liberty would be, Liberty's ranked 24th. Yeah, Liberty would be my Group 5 champion. And you know what? I'd put them in whatever game whatever they do, the Fiesta Bowl or whatever the hell they put in the Group 5 champion. They always put them in whatever bowl game. I'd put them up against Florida State. Why not? If they want to put Florida State in a big bowl game, put them up against the Group 5 champion. Because at this point, you're stuck with putting them in a game. Yes, I believe that ST Patrick, I believe it's going to be the top 6 conference champions and then 6 at-larges. But the top 4 get seeded. The top 4 conference champions get seeded. Oh my goodness. The top 4 champions are going to get there. Yes, Jim. Liberty is undefeated. They're ranked 24th. They won. With SMU having 2 losses and beating Tulane. Miami of Ohio having 2 losses. I'm trying to think of the other Group 5 champions. Boise State has 5 losses. I don't see how Liberty doesn't get into the Group 5 spot and gets to play whoever they want to play, put in the big bowl game, which is good for Liberty, good for them. You know, they should. They're undefeated. They're a really good team. They looked great yesterday. They completely dominated New Mexico State. Actually, you know, it'd be fun. They should put Liberty against, like, Iowa. So the game can be really weird. A really good offensive team against a really insanely strange, non-offensive, all-defensive team. But I don't know if you guys have any other questions. I'm going to stay up for another 5 more minutes or so here. Because like I said, I'm getting a little tired, and I want to watch the rest of this Idaho game. Yeah, Jim, I was he's asking about the Conference USA adding Delaware. I am very happy that Conference USA is adding Delaware, except I wish people would stop with the whole UMass should go to Conference USA. They should not. UMass, oh my goodness, Idaho. Go, Idaho. Sorry, I'm watching this Idaho game. This guy's going to score and tie it up. I've heard about 1, not 2 Dakota schools going to the Mountain West. I've heard for a decade about North Dakota State. You know, the only thing you gotta think about the stadiums, guys. So like Delaware has an outdoor stadium, and I'm pretty sure the Delaware Stadium holds 25,000. You gotta have a 25,000 seat stadium to be in Division I believe. So I don't think I think the North Dakota State Stadium, the Fargo Dome, I think that holds 20. Maybe it probably holds 25. So I mean, they could do it, but North Dakota State they've never tried, they've never accepted that, or no one's ever given them the hand out for it. So 19K, if that's what, yeah. So they would need to expand, and it's pretty hard to expand a dome stadium. So it doesn't really bode well. Maybe that's a reason why North Dakota State has not expanded or has not moved up to FBS because they can't expand their stadium. I mean, they're amazing. I don't think they're going to win the FCS title this game or the FCS title this year. South Dakota State's a really good team again. So, but by the way, going back to my Delaware point, I'm very happy Delaware is in Conference USA, but we should all stop with the conversation about about UMass going to Conference USA, going to the American. No, UMass is not in a place where anyone would go. Have you ever been to Amherst, Massachusetts? If you live there, good for you. I've been to Amherst, Massachusetts. Lovely place. UMass is a really big college. They actually have a really big stadium, an outdoor stadium that probably could expand. Gets even bigger. The only thing with UMass is they just don't. No one's. I know the MAC extended them that olive branch to play, and then they kicked them out because, yeah, it's just. What's it, Amherst versus Williams? Yeah. But UMass, I've always heard about UMass. They just never. No one's ever given them the olive branch. The American is not going to invite UMass. That's not going to happen. UConn is not going to play football only in Conference USA, I don't think. I don't see them doing that. They're not going to move all their teams to Conference USA. That's a killer. Because UConn basketball UConn basketball can't move again. They're going to stay where they are. They're not going to move to Conference USA. That'd be stupid. So yeah, it's a good move for Delaware. I'm just wondering who else Conference USA is thinking about inviting, because you should look in the Colonial. I'm sorry, it's not the Colonial Athletic Association anymore. It's the Coastal Athletic Association, which is stupid. That's what it's called now, because there are 15 schools in that now that play in the CAA. And there are a lot of good ones. And now I'm going to check stadium sizes, because that's the first thing I check. Because that's the first thing you can know if your team is going to move up or not. Because like I said, it's hard for stadiums that are dome stadiums, like the Dakota Dome. I think South Dakota too plays in a dome. That's why Idaho, I'm watching the Idaho game right now. Idaho Stadium doesn't even hold 15,000. That was a reason why they got pushed out of FBS, because they didn't have a big enough stadium. So yeah, you need to have a 25,000 seater. And if you don't have that, they're not going to invite you. So people can wish all the fairy tales they want about North Dakota State, South Dakota State, whatever. Yeah, Ball State's been grandfathered in. Some of these schools get grandfathered in. But like now, they raised the price on a team moving from FCS to FBS. It used to be $5,000. That was it. That's all you had to pay, except for all the other upgrades. Now you have to pay $5 million if you want to move your school from FCS to FBS. So Delaware has to pay $5 million along with all the other stuff that they have to do to move their team up. So it's just a way for them to make sure that if you want to move up, you got to make sure you've got the facilities to do so. And I just don't see the Dakota schools having the facilities for that. Yeah, I'm surprised more teams have not moved down. Because I mean, Idaho's doing great right now. They're tied in this game, but Idaho is a school that was always on the They were up and down. They were in FCS, FBS. They were all over the place. Who gets that money? That's a good question. Who gets that money? The NCAA gets that money, and you know what they do with it? I don't know. The FCS is or the NCAA is horrible, and I hate that we people give them tons of money because they don't deserve any of it. But yeah, I don't know. But you have to pay $5 million now, along with all the other upgrades and all the other things you have to do to move your team from FCS to FBS. And I don't know if you know about St. Thomas University. So St. Thomas University is a school in Minnesota. They were in Division 3 2 years ago. They were a really good Division 3 school. And their conference kicked them out because their school was really big. Their school had about 16,000 students, which is really big for Division 3. 16,000 students in your school is a pretty big college. So they got kicked out. So they went to go try to find a new school. So they moved up to Division 1. Usually, if you move from Division 3 to Division 1, that's like it used to be like an 8-year waiting period before you were allowed to get into bowl games and all that other stuff. I believe St. Thomas only has to wait 4, and I think they're in year 3. So all their stuff is they're going to be Division 1 in 2 years. So that's one of the quickest move ups I've ever seen is St. Thomas moving up from Division 3 to Division 1. Their football team, though, is non-scholarship because of the move. So, and if you don't know this, they're in one of my favorite conferences in Division 1 FCS, the division that has no scholarships, and now I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head because I am just completely tired right now. But there are a few conferences that don't have scholarship teams. So that is why St. Thomas was allowed to move up because they don't give out scholarships. So that would be the only way I could see more teams moving up. But you can't be an FBS team unless you give out scholarships. You can be a Division 1 FCS team and not give out scholarships. That's why there's the Ivy League. There's the now I'm being dumb because now I can't think of all the damn conferences that have it. The Pioneer Football League. The Pioneer Football League is the conference that does not have any football scholarships. That is why whenever their team gets into the FCS tournament, you always bet against them. No matter how good their team is, they are going to get killed. And it happened again this year. I believe the conference champion got killed. Oh my God. MPC, thank you so much for the money. Holy crap. No one's ever done that. So thank you so much. Will you be doing position-centric videos? Oh, best Division 3 quarterbacks? Dude, that's really hard. I might do something more with Division 3, but that'll be in the future. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have any more questions. If you want to send me money like MPC did, because he's awesome. By the way, thank you so much for that. Like anytime anyone gives me money for this channel, that's really cool. Just because I'm finally doing something with this channel and making some money. So I'm really happy about that. But it's getting late. That's why I'm losing my voice here. But I'm going to stay on for just a few more minutes because this Idaho game is getting good and I'm awake for now. And we're getting some more people who are joining the channel. But yeah, like I said, my top 4, I'm going to go back to what I think the top 4 is going to be. It's definitely going to be Michigan. And it should definitely be Washington at number 2. And then my picks would be Texas at 3, Alabama at 4. You leave out Florida State. Sorry, but not sorry. They did not look good today, and I would not put them in. They just didn't. They were not a team that looked great. Ooh, That was a good one. So I don't know. I'm watching the last football game on right now, which is Southern Illinois and Idaho. And Southern Illinois just scored, but there's a flag. The FCS tournament, by the way, is very good. I don't know if you guys watched that at all. Well, they're going to bring the touchdown back. Oh, also, too, MPC. I went to school at a Division III school called Rowan University. ROWAN University. It's in New Jersey. They have a they used to have a really good football team. They don't really anymore. They used to have a really good one. Casey Keeler used to be our coach. He is now the football coach at Sam Houston State. He used to be the coach at Rowan University. But I was thinking about I might do a video on them in the future, but I really want to do a lot more research on that because there's a lot to go over with them. But I don't know if you have any other questions. I got another minute here, and then I will be jumping off. And I might do. I'm probably going to do another live video in the coming weeks. Maybe one right before the playoff. I have to see because I will be on vacation at the end of the year. Everything about interviewing coaches and players directly. No, not really. I don't really like interviews too much. If I don't have to do them, I don't really care to do them. I'd rather listen to a coach just drivel on about something, honestly. I don't really need to ask them any questions. I just rather them just talk about their team and talk about their coaching philosophy because that's kind of fun. But yeah, I am going to be putting out another video in the coming weeks as well. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but it's probably going to be on college basketball. I have a couple of things about college basketball coming up soon because the college basketball season has started, and I haven't done a video on college basketball in a while. So be on the lookout for that. Also, be on the lookout for some more re-uploads because I just re-uploaded a video last week. Which was the video for biggest upsets people don't really talk about. And holy cow, that video got so many views. I believe it's one of my most viewed videos ever. I think it has over 10,000 views in like a week. So thank you to everyone who's been watching that. Really helping out the channel by watching it. Share all my videos. If you're watching this right now, please share any videos with any college football fans because that's, again, how this channel grows. But again, be on the lookout for some more videos. And it will be interesting tomorrow. In the Final Four, you can keep commenting on this video. You can also comment on the post on the community tab and tell me who you think is going to be in the Final Four. Have a great night, guys. Thanks a lot.